Subscribe today to RacingAmerica.tv to join our racing community and get access to over 200 live pavement short track races each season from across the U.S. and Canada. Plus, RacingAmerica.tv has exclusive and behind-the-scenes coverage of the NASCAR Cup teams.
Enjoy competing with your teammates.
We already know.
Subscribe today and claim additional discounts and access. And your front row seat to watch the excitement and drama.
Car lifts up in the air.
From grassroots to NASCAR, become a subscriber today at the home for race fans everywhere.
You're watching Racing America right here on Racing America.
Racing America. It's in our DNA.
Welcome in, friends. It is Dirty Air on Racing America. Glad to be back with all of you guys. Oh, sorry about that. My name is Rodney Rodriguez. A couple of weeks off, but we are doing it once again, and we've got a lot to cover this evening. Coming up in just a matter of minutes, already ready to go. Going to talk to Ricky Brooks. Massive news coming up from him, and then a little bit later, we're going to talk to the guy that they're all chasing in the trucks. Trace Capers is going to join me. And then a little bit later in the show, we're going to talk some dirt racing as we come all the way out my way, way up to the northern reaches of my way. Going to talk about a huge one coming up, the Mike Parker Memorial. Zach Clark is going to join me, and we'll dive in and start talking about that one. But now, let's dive in. I told you guys we talked about it early on. I put this out on social media. I'd reached out to Ricky Brooks, and I just wanted to get an update from Ricky on what was going on. I mean, we've got the Sportsman series on a break and so forth. But as all of this starts to shake out, my goodness, I see the World Classic is coming back. First of all, Ricky, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Rodney. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, my friend. Thank you for taking the time to jump on here. So we'll get to the updates and up to now, the Money in the Bank, all of that good stuff. I see this yesterday, World Classic. I'm old school. When I see these races coming back, talk about how all of this sets itself up to come back to Cordele. What a great get you have there.
Yeah, we wanted to build a big event at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. So this is going to be our end of the year. So I got with Jim Gresham over at what used to be Gresham Motorsports Park, and he gave the blessing to do it. He's probably more than likely going to be the grand marshal of the event, because that was the last place the event happened. So that's exciting. And we announced it yesterday, what it was going to pay to win, what it was going to pay to start. We'll put the total purse out here for too long. And then more news about next year is going to come out in the next couple of weeks. But if you run all the races at Cordele next year, there's going to be bonus money for the World Crown next year. So all that'll come out. It's going to be one of the biggest purses in super late model racing.
Unbelievable. How cool is it for you? I mean, obviously with everything that you've done, with UARA and so forth, and then taking over Cordele there with the Nolans. I mean, the fact that you're able to bring this race back, this really is. I mean, we talk about crown jewels all the time. That word gets thrown around a lot, but I mean, this right here, I mean, you go back and you look at this thing. This is just a badass race that is about to reappear again.
Well, every track needs a couple crown jewels, to make it successful all year. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to build a place. I mean, Greg and Lori, they've given me a good recipe here. I mean, they've spent a ton of money. It's probably the nicest facility in the Southeast, if not the country now. If you haven't been, Ross Chastain drove in the parking lot yesterday to do a commercial for Georgia Highway and Safety. And he said as soon as he drove off the street right in the driveway, he could tell already. And he was just ecstatic about the way the place looked and everything we got going on here now.
Yeah. RB, talk about that part. I mean, for you, when you became a part of that, it was you had to stand on the gas. I mean, to use a racing term right there, you guys dove in and you had to start getting stuff done, and it really looks like everything's working out really good over there right now.
Yeah, everything's coming together. This is just going to be another piece of the pie, but uh, every piece of the pie up here is starting to get its legs and coming together. We're working on trying to get people back in the grandstands because a lot of people don't even know the track exists, even in this area, and or thinks it's still dirt. So we got to change all that with TV, radio, and everything that we're doing. We're starting to see new faces now.
Yeah, that's right. UARAracing.com, the spot right there for just everything that's going on, and Cordial kind of in the mix there as well. So let's talk about UARA. I like that little bit of a break. I mean, it's always a good thing right there to kind of take a little bit of time off, especially in this heat. But Money in the Bank. I talked to a lot of different folks that were talking about that race at Berlin last week, and they were like, "Man, I mean, a middle of the week race." Your shows are so streamlined and efficient. And then Bubba Pollard wins that, so obviously a popular win there. Just kind of talk about everything with UAR, with the supers and the sportsmen up to this point.
Well, I mean, we pride ourselves on having an organized event. It's like Berlin. They do a great job with everything they do, and then we go in there and we help streamline some stuff, and it just all comes together. I mean, that's a great crew up there. Every track we go to's got a great crew,
Yeah.
and so just little things that we started doing, like playing music around the tech area, just kind of mellows everybody out. We're all the officials are welcoming the racers and coming in there, and there's really no problems. We do our job, and they fix their cars, and we move on. But the the way that race last week played itself out, it couldn't have been a better finish.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'd love your thoughts post Berlin, the tire thing. I know a lot of folks are talking about, with the tire change and so forth. Tires is a topic that just goes on and on and on. Kind of from talking to your competitors and folks that went out there and raced, looked like the tire did its job as I figured it would. Any thoughts there after that with that change?
No, Berlin's been running that tire since April when they opened up.
Hmm.
Jennerstown runs the tire. Any track up north where we go, whether it's Owasso or Jennerstown is July 11th. We're going to run the same tire there, the same tire at Owasso. And then down in the south, we'll run an AR 153 because that's another great tire. It's all made by the same manufacturer.
Right.
But Cordial runs the AR 153. Bigley will be on the 153, and the Sportsmans are still on the 955.
Mm, okay. Yeah. Super good. So let's talk about the Sportsman. Is really seeing a lot of growth right there. It seems like with that, you've done a really good job of kind of honing that thing in to kind of trim it back a little bit. On break right now, I saw that the schedule kind of changes up a little bit now with the World Classic. Kind of touch on the Sportsman class just a little bit.
Well, I like giving the guys off in the summer because Florida's hot. It's
Hmm.
going to rain. We know it's going to rain. So why drag everybody out there and waste money and waste their weekend? So we give them that little summer break. If they want to go race, there's other racetracks that still races the cars and they can go race. But if they want to take a break, they take their break and then we come back and finish the year out strong.
Hmm. Yeah. So, how has the response been with the announcement yesterday with the World Classic? I mean, I think I saw that stuff is getting sold out and so forth there for Cordial. So, I think it's go time. It's kick ass time for you.
Yeah, I've had racers reach out, want to know when the entry blank for the World Crown is going to be come out, and I told them we would let them all know. I'll email that out. Um, but the camping, it's sold out in less than a day and a half.
Damn.
So now I'm working on selling the campsites that doesn't have any power or water or sewer or anything. Um, but I'm also working with a company that has generators, and possibly about trading out some stuff to where I can get some power to those other spots. They'll just have to be self-contained. So we'll see how it shakes out. But everybody's got generators. They always bring them to the Derby and camp out without power. So it is what it is, and it'll be a good time. But there's a lot of interest in this event, and they're happy to see it come back.
Yeah, I can only imagine. It's one to have a good back on there again. So 32nd annual World Crown 300, and it'll happen there at Cordele October 25th and 26th. Looking forward to that one. Ricky, congratulations on all of that. Thank you for jumping on here and letting me be a part of helping break this right here on Dirty Air, man. I think it's going to be a really cool thing.
All right, I appreciate it, Rodney.
You got it, man. Take care. Be well.
Thank you.
You bet. There he goes, Ricky Brooks. And that really was when I talked with him a couple of days ago. It was just one of those things to where I wanted to kind of get a feel of what was going on after the event happening at Berlin. And then I knew that there was a little bit of a break right there. And then that breaks yesterday. And it just so happened that we had the show today. So that worked out really well. So a big thanks to Ricky Brooks for diving in. You guys stick around. We're going to stay on the asphalt short track part right here. Going to talk about the trucks, near and dear to my heart. I love the trucks. By the way, we got a race in Houston coming up this weekend. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But coming up, it's a guy that they are all chasing. It's the guy that they are all chasing on the truck side. It is my man, Trace Capers. He's going to join. And then bottom of the hour, right around 6:30, 7:30 Eastern, we're going to come back this way to Texarkana, Texas. Yeah, Smokey and the Bandit reference. We're going to dive in right there. Zach Clark is going to join me. We'll talk about the Mike Parker Memorial. That is a massive race happening right here in the southern part of the country. $10,000 to win for a factory stock and $10,000 to win for a limited modified. Yeah. All of that on the same night. That's coming up. You guys stick around. Thank you for joining me. Dirty Air. Clean air is good. Times like this, dirty air a tad bit better. More coming up.
Subscribe today to RacingAmerica.tv to join our racing community and get access to over 200 live pavement short track races each season from across the U.S. and Canada. Plus, RacingAmerica.tv has exclusive and behind-the-scenes coverage of the NASCAR Cup teams.
Enjoy competing with your teammates.
We already know.
Subscribe today and claim additional discounts and access. And your front row seat to watch the excitement and drama.
Car lifts up in the air.
From grassroots to NASCAR, become a subscriber today at the home for race fans everywhere.
You're watching Racing America right here on Racing America.
Racing America. It's in our DNA.
Will be at Star Speedway Saturday, June 22nd. Past Super Late models go for 150 laps in a special national championship event, while the American-Canadian Tour battles it out in the Coastal Class 150. That's not enough. The New England Super Modifieds and Past Modifieds will also be in action. It's a full day of racing Saturday, June 22nd at Star Speedway, and you can see it all on the home for Pass and ACT, RacingAmerica.tv.
Subscribe today to RacingAmerica.tv to join our racing community and get access to over 200 live pavement short track races each season from across the U.S. and Canada. Plus, RacingAmerica.tv has exclusive and behind-the-scenes coverage of the NASCAR Cup teams.
Enjoy competing with your teammates.
We already know.
Subscribe today and claim additional discounts and access. And your front row seat to watch the excitement and drama.
Car lifts up in the air.
From grassroots to NASCAR, racingamerica.com. Become a subscriber today at the home for race fans everywhere.
You're watching Racing America right here on Racing America.
Racing America. It's in our DNA.
It is Dirty Air on Racing America. We roll on your Thirsty Thursday. Man, we have been getting after it today. Just all kinds of good stuff that we're talking about. This is where the short trackers gather. There's lots of different places to catch racing stuff, but we talk short track racing right here. Diving back in, you guys know that if you have watched this show for any amount of time, the trucks are my deal. The trucks are my deal. Obviously, you know, with the Texas roots and so forth, then into the Mobile stuff, I was all about the trucks. And now we dive in and we're talking to the dude that they are all chasing when it comes to the trucks. It is our man, Trace Capers. Trace, how we doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
Doing well, man. Thank you for hopping on this afternoon. So it sounds like you guys, it's about time to go test this bad boy, right?
Yes, sir. It's been a long 2 weeks getting it ready. It's been basically a whole chop, cut, and rebuild for the whole truck. So we're gonna see how it does tonight, hopefully.
Absolutely. So Trace, let's talk about the year, my man. Like I said, and I don't say that mildly, man. They are all chasing you. You got bounties on you. I remember being a kid when it was like, okay, there's a bounty on somebody. I'm like, man, that's not right. And my dad said, well, when you get a bounty on you in racing, that means you're badass. Kind of talk about the year for you, man. You've had them all covered. It seems like.
Yeah, we struggled a little bit last year, and that was our first full year with a truck, anything bigger than a legend car, really. So we took on the challenge, and we came into this year, did a full rebuild over the off season after the Derby, went through everything, and it played out for us. We opened the year strong, started off with 6 wins in a row between Mobile and Pensacola, and it's I've been trying my best to be humble about it and not brag about it, but it's pretty cool. If I win the next race at Pensacola, I'm gonna have a bounty on me for Pensacola too. But we got a couple months till that race happens, so we're gonna try to keep it going this weekend.
Yeah, that humble part gets kind of hard when you're on the roll that you are sometimes. So kind of talk about that difference right there. I mean, in my racing, when I was doing full-time racing, I went reverse. I started out in big cars and then went to a dwarf. So kind of talk about the transition from going to a legend to one of these things, because folks just don't get it. It's a hell of a lot of difference when you do something like that.
Yeah, the fun thing about the legend car, I kind of where I raced mainly was at Sunny South Raceway, and for the most part, I had the most experience. We had the most time in the legend car out of pretty much anybody there by the time I left, at least. And it went from I was kind of just playing towards the end of it with legend cars, and it kind of got easy there for a little while. But we finally got tired of that. It was like, all right, we need to move up and get out of legend cars. I was in legend cars for eight seasons, so. Yeah. We said we need to get up out of here and get into something more challenging, and we moved up to the trucks, blank slate, didn't know anything about them other than they had a sway bar. So we moved up to those and struggled for a few races, but we started catching ground and started finding speed, and the more people we know and the more people we talk to, the more we figure out about them. And we got that first win at Mobile last year in the middle of August, and that was our breaking point for us. And we figured out we had the speed, I had the capability of driving it.
Yeah.
And my dad, he's the main setup guy, so he started playing with it a little bit more and fine tuning it, and now here we are, 6 wins in a row in the next season. So, well, minus this loss we had last weekend.
So when you do have, or when you don't win one, I hate to call it a loss, but so when you don't win one, I mean, you're talking about right there, you go in, you chop, cut, rebuild, all of this, kind of one of those things where it just kind of drives you to make it even better. It sounds like when you don't go to victory lane.
Yeah, we hate to lose a race that way, but it definitely gave us a good opportunity to run through the whole truck.
Yeah.
And upgrade several things that we've been wanting to upgrade, but didn't have the will to do it yet.
Right.
So a lot of that stuff got tore up, and here we are. We got all new stuff on the front end of the truck, and we're hoping it's going to be at least as faster the next time we show up to the racetrack.
Yes, sir. No doubt about it. And that'll be at Mobile coming up in a couple of days. So Trace, for you with the truck series in and of itself, I mean, because it's one of those where I talk to a lot of truck guys, and they say kind of the challenge with that is, I mean, the drivability of them, they're blast to drive. A lot of times you want more horsepower. I mean, you want to be able to get through the firewall. But kind of talk about driving one of these.
Yeah, it's got a real weird steering to me.
Yeah.
It's got the typical center link, the old style steering, which I know a lot of race cars have that, but it's very weird, especially coming from a legend car that had a rack and pinion.
Mm-hmm.
And moving from that is a more nimble race car to moving to the truck that honestly it's physically a lot easier to drive, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong, I love all of it, but it's way easier to drive than I thought it would be. And being fast and being consistent, that's a different thing. It's fun, and whenever it's off bad.
Yeah.
That's the sucky part about it. But whenever it's going good and it's rolling smooth, everything's handling okay, it's fast and it's fun.
So how is it for you? Because now, I mean, obviously, folks want to beat you. I mean, I talked about the bounty there at MIS, and maybe there's one coming at Pensacola. How is that now? You feel like you got a target on your back, and what's going to start happening? I mean, you keep on winning, Trace, you're going to get guys that are going to come down from another division. I mean, they show up out of the freaking woodwork. Is how that shit works. So kind of your thoughts on all of that.
Yeah, it's I've had a lot of people come up to me and talk about how it looks like it's getting easy for us and all that. And I've had to tell them it's not easy. It ain't ever easy. We've just been very fortunate. We hadn't had no, like Stephen Davis, he's probably one of our biggest right now. And
Yep.
He hadn't been to a racetrack in like 4 or 5 races. So if that should tell you right there that we got one of the biggest big dogs out there, one of the biggest veterans in the truck series. He's He hadn't been to the track any this year, and we know he's going to pull up whenever he decides to come back to the racetrack. We know he's going to pull up with a fast truck. And I think if anybody saw the video or was at the track last race 2 weeks ago at Mobile, I think that showed just how big of a target we got on our back. So it's I got to mind my P's and Q's out there, and I got to rely on my spotter a lot more than I'd like to keep me clean.
That's kind of the thing that I've been watching there as I've been kind of following along there is I'm waiting because I know like in Texas, so we race in Houston this weekend, our truck count has gone way down, and it's like, okay, where are these guys at? And I know that the more that you keep winning on the Southeast coast, that's when these guys are going to get fired up and start getting after it once again. So with the 2 half miles, I mean, with Pensacola and Mobile, one of them that you like better. I mean, Mobile obviously a little more forgiving without the walls, but still, man, these are light and fast speed plants. Either one of those to your taking a little bit better.
Really, I'm more on the side of Mobile, mainly because I've been to Mobile my whole life.
Yeah,
I've watched races there my whole life. That's where my parents met. So it's got a lot of sentimental value to me, and it's honestly just a little more fun to drive, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
But Pensacola's got its pros with having the Derby and the glory you get from winning at Pensacola. So, I like both of them, but I think I got to pick Mobile for that one.
Yeah, no doubt. So rest of the year, obviously going to try to finish out there at both of those tracks. Anything, I know when it gets to trucks, other parts of Florida, it gets kind of hard with Florida Pro Trucks and rules and stuff. And Georgia has trucks, but the rules thing is a little wonky. Anything outside of those 2 tracks for you the rest of the year?
We're mainly focused on Mobile and Pensacola. We wasn't even worried about Pensacola this year, but we figured we'd go ahead and do it anyways.
Yeah.
But if we get the extra sponsorship and the extra time to go out of town to Cordele or any of the South Florida tracks, we would definitely look into it. We want to go to Houston, but we just hadn't been able to do it yet. We're tight between these two tracks right now, so
Yeah.
if we get the opportunity and it's a good opportunity, we'll probably take it. So
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you in Texas, we'd love to have you, man. So lastly, you talked about your dad right there. I mean, this is all about this is family. That's why I got stuck in this, and that's why I'm doing this now, because I still want to be a part of this. Trace, talk about all the folks that make it happen for you, brother.
man, my dad, he's the main one. He pays the bills, and that's he pays the bills. And I got several good sponsors. Dirt and Roof Care, they came on last year right before the Derby, and they've been a huge help ever since they came on. And Mike's Truck and Trailer, he's been with me since I started racing almost 17 years ago. And Metro Glass of Mobile, and I got several other ones. Can't even think of them right now, but there's a ton of people. My grandpa, he's helped us a lot. And I got my grandpa's brother-in-law. He's in the shop right now working on the truck. So
Love it.
it's a big family effort. It's a lot of family support, and we hope to have a big crowd this weekend at Mobile.
Yes, sir. That's what it's all about. All right, man. I'll be following along. Hopefully that bounty continues to grow, and then I can't wait to see one at Pensacola for you as well. Congratulations on all the success, my brother, and just keep rolling, dude. It's really fun to watch.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.
You got it, man. Take care. Coming up next, more Dirty Air. We're going to dive in, talk maybe some national stuff, all of that and more. Clean air is good. Times like this, Dirty Air just a tad bit better. You guys stick around.
Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice cold. Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice cold beer. Racing has been at the core of Hooters' DNA from the beginning. Whether it's backing the best drivers or serving up the best food on race day, race fans know Hooters is the real deal. Big screens, great food, good times. Hooters, the official home of race fans.
Will be at Star Speedway Saturday, June 22nd. Past super late models go for 150 laps in a special national championship event, while the American Canadian Tour battles it out in the Coastal Class 150. That's not enough. The New England Super Modifieds and Past Modifieds will also be in action. It's a full day of racing Saturday, June 22nd at Star Speedway, and you can see it all on the home for Pass and ACT, RacingAmerica.tv. Speedway, and it all begins Sunday, July 7th with the prelude to the Nationals. The short track stars will have practice and the kickoff party qualifying draw. Then it's the big day, Tuesday, July 9th, when the green flag falls for the 45th annual Cobblestones Hotel Slinger Nationals presented by Lynch Buick GMC. It all goes down July 7th through 9th at Slinger Super Speedway. Racing starts at 6:30, and it's exclusively on Racing America. Presented by 317 Awards. Custom awards and trophies for all types of events and occasions. Plaques, custom trophies, custom laser engraving, custom laser cutting, custom vinyl work, banners, and more. It's 317 Awards. When you've got an award to give, you might as well give it with pride and get it from the best in the business. Check out 317 Awards.
Back live with Dirty Air on Racing America, Thirsty Thursday. Thank you all for being a part of the program. Great conversation that we have had so far with Ricky Brooks right there with the World Classic. That I really think that man, I'm a big fan of these big races. And when you get the opportunity to have these back, I've talked to a lot of folks to where it's like, well, you know, it's one thing when you bring a big race back, but you're not having it at the same place. And it's like, well, a lot of times you can't have it at the same place. You know, that place is not operating, or that place is not functional, or whatever the case may be right there. That's something that you see quite often. But just the fact right there, and like Ricky was talking about, I saw that the camping is sold out, and that tells you the impact of what they're doing there. And it's a really great thing. And with Trace Capers, Obviously, I mentioned there about truck racing. Truck counts are down, and I think the fact that you get a guy like Trace that's out there dominating what we're watching in the truck series. I think as we start building towards whether it be, the countdown to the Derby and all these different events that are going to be coming up, I think that's something that's we're going to see these guys like he mentioned right there, the Stephen Davis. When we talk about John Heil, I mean, I see that these guys are going to show up and they're going to race and they're going to want to beat this guy. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Really excited right now as we dive in. We've got a big one coming up right here in this part of the country. And again, this part of the country for me, this is a good ways away from me. But take a look at this right here as I pull this up. The Mike Parker Memorial. That is coming up at Texarkana 67 Speedway. $10,000 on the line for the factory stocks, $10,000 on the line for the limited modifieds. And that, that's going to bring out the claws. That's going to bring out the excitement. And super excited to bring on the dude. Let me scale him in right there. The guy that's going to be on the call on raceon.com. One of my good buddies, one of the best in the business when it comes to calling these events, is my man, Zach Clark. Zachary, how you doing this Thursday, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm getting ready to head out to the racetrack here this afternoon. We're going to do time trials about 9 o'clock. They start practice. I think they already started about 30 minutes ago. But the good news is this is a home base for me this weekend, man. We got some hometown cooking this week. It's only 20 minutes or so for me. So they're going to practice for a couple hours. Then we're going to have time trials tonight starting at 9 o'clock, and that'll be live on RaceOn as well for anybody that's interested in viewing that.
Absolutely. Raceon.com. So Zach, for the folks that are checking in on some of our, on Racing America, on our national platform, kind of talk about what the Mike Parker Memorial, because this is actually two memorials that are going on right here with massive payouts. Kind of talk about this whole event and how it's all come to this at this point.
Well, this event originally started back in 2013. Justin Whitehead created the factory stock 50. It originally paid $5,000 a win for USRA style factory stock cars, and it was held at Timberline Speedway for the first 5 years, and then moved it to Arklatex, moved to Boot Hill, ran at 67 in 2020, went back to Arklatex the last couple of years. So it's kind of bounced around, but it's pretty cool because Justin has a good relationship with all these promoters right around the Arklatex, and he's brought the events to different places. Obviously, Texarkana 67 Speedway is Justin Whitehead's home racetrack. So again, the event originated as a factory stock event in 2013. And I'll tell you what, the first 5 or 6 years, we averaged over 115 factory stocks. I mean, it was outstanding. Oh yeah, it was phenomenal. And for anyone that's not familiar, like you may hear us say, oh, factory stocks, like door bangers, man, listen, you can attest to this as well, Rodney. We have some of the most high quality stock car racing you'll find anywhere in the US of A. I mean, we truly do, man. And I take a lot of pride in the quality of racing that we provide around the Arklatex and that particular class. So I'd say about 5 years ago, Justin started putting more money on the line. So it was a dual headed event. So not only did you pay $5,000 for the factory stocks, now you're paying $5,000 or more for the limiteds. And this year we just blew the top off of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
It's $10,015 to win for the USRA factory stocks and $10,035 to win. So we were going to have the Alan Roy Memorial. Alan Roy was a great man. I actually spoke at his funeral last year when he passed away. Just a great guy. We're excited to honor him. Both of his sons, Adam and Aaron, both race limited modified, so they'll be competing this weekend. So we're going to honor Mike. That was kind of the factory stock portion of the event, right? And so the Alan Roy Memorial was created to honor Alan, and that event was rained out. Keep in mind, Texarkana has been rained out 18 times since the start of last year. So we said, you know what? Let's just combine these things and combine them. So that one was going to pay $5,035. So Justin combined that with his sponsors, and man, we're just going to have a big party and a big shebang this weekend for a pair of 10,000 win events for two of the top tier premium classes around the Arklatex region. Man, it is going to be a blockbuster event.
Man, it's going to be massive. Let's kind of talk about that there, Zach. Justin Whitehead, I mean, we probably have folks checking in. Obviously, the folks from back home where we're at, they know who that dude is. But, the other part about that, I mean, that's a racer, that's a promoter, he builds race cars, he does all these different things. And I really think that it's admirable that he lays his ass on the line for something like this. These are guys that really come in and kind of keep this sport going at the, I don't want to say local, because this is much more than local, regional, because this is a national thing. There are going to be folks from all around here, but Justin is a guy that, damn, when you talk about a grinder, a warrior, that's what Justin Whitehead is.
Yeah, he's been on both sides of the fence too, so
Yep.
he understands. We always talk about, former racers make great promoters. I mean, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, right? But he's a guy who's been on both sides of the fence. He actually promoted. He set his race car to the side on Friday nights when Timberline was running on Friday nights. I think this was 2017 or 18. He parked his car and promoted that racetrack. He told Billy White, the owner, he said, "Look, man, I want him to promote this place." And so he learned a lot at that time. Again, this event itself was created back in 2013, but Justin, he learned a lot from that, and he's really implemented everything that he's learned into this event. And one of my favorite things about it is we got those two premier classes racing, and we're also running its 2,000 win for USRA, IMCA, and Arkansas factory stock. So there's it's kind of a run your sanction deal this weekend, and we're going to find out who's got the baddest hot rod of the bunch. I mean, the $2,000 is a pretty nice payday for those guys. So one thing I love that Justin has implemented into this event is we're not running a ton of classes. I mean, 3 classes, man, we're going to get in and out. We'll be done more than likely by 11 o'clock every night. We'll have the best in the business, Jill Shannon. She's scoring as the head chief, the chief up there calling the shots. So, man, by all accounts, this is the kind of event as a race fan. Like if I were to invite some friends that have never been to the racetrack, I would want them. I mean, sure, super late models and sprint cars sell. Like you want guys maybe for their first time to see a sprint car race, the World of Outlaws or something. But I invited a good friend of mine it's coming this weekend, and I'm going to be proud for what he sees because he's not going to be there all night. He's going to get to see the main event, and his kids are coming with him, and they're going to get to see the racing as well. So he'll feel like he gets the best bang for his buck. And for me, a guy that's been around the sport for a long time, that's what I want for new people to get into this sport is be able to come and get what they paid for.
Yeah, that's right. So, Zach, let's dive in right here. Again, you can catch that at raceon.com. If you're a part of that, I mean, you're going to get to see all this action, and the pits are going to be jammed. I mean, there's going to be all of these race cars and some of the best that you're going to find in the country. Let's start with the limited modifieds. In your opinion, some of the guys right there, because these are going to be stacked fields. Who do we need to be looking for that are going to be the ones at the top of the heap right here? And again, there's a lot of stuff that can happen here, and stuff can go haywire. But in your opinion, Zach, just watching this stuff and honed in as you are, favorites for the limited modifieds.
Well, last year, Cody Smith, who won 35 times a year ago. And you know who Cody Smith is. He won 35 times. He'll be a factor in the number 25 IRP race car for Robert Clark. He started 22nd in this event last year. Well, he started 4th. He cut down a tire on lap 1. Somebody ran him over in the first corner. He come from dead last and ended up winning the race by over 1.8 seconds at the checkered flag. And that was when it paid $5,035 last year. This year it pays $10,000. Last weekend at Boot Hill, remember last weekend at Boot Hill, we paid $8,069 for the winner. The winner of that event, obviously, Dean Abbey out of Waco, Texas. He's the former IMCA Super Nationals winner at Boone in Boone, Iowa. He's won the 11,000 Hoosier Tire Southwest Southern Sport Mod Nationals. He'll be a factor in the threat. That was his first time to ever race a B mod last weekend. And for those that aren't aware, obviously, we have the USRA limited modifieds that have been predominant in the southern region for the last 15 to 18 years and been sanctioned by USRA. This year, they combined the B mod division with them. And there's been a lot of talk on social media about who's faster, who's not. The driver who's won more races than any other driver in the Arklatex this year between Boot Hill and Arklatex. He's not won at 67, but granted, they've only raced 3 times. The Marshall missile, Derek Grigsby out of Marshall, Texas. He'll be a factor. He started on the outside of the front road, led 23 laps of the West Grigsby Memorial last weekend at Boot Hill Speedway. Aaron and Adam Roy, they'll be racing with a heavy heart in memory of their father. And Aaron's an 8-time 67 Speedway track champion. So, man, there's a lot of local guys, but then on the outside of that, you look at Kyle Slater, who won the West Grigsby Memorial last year. He's going to be going for broke this weekend. He threw a Hail Mary in turn 3 and 4 last weekend at Boot Hill, rode the concrete wall, ended up not finishing, but man, he gave it everything he had. And so that huge race car 19K will be in the mix, as well as Cody King, the runner-up from last weekend out of Fanshawe, Oklahoma. And man, we're expecting Eric Turner, I think, is going to be there. Maybe John Sheets from Nevada, Missouri. There's going to be a lot of great drivers from the Show Me State, from Oklahoma, Louisiana, Texas, and Arkansas. It's going to really be a clash of who's who, and find out. We're going to find out who's got the baddest hot rod of the bunch.
That really is the best part, in my opinion, when it comes to races up there, is that you are combining, because Texas is so big. People just don't get it. When they see Texarkana, Texas, it's like, yeah, Texas, but that is way up there. But you are. I mean, you're bringing in Louisiana, you're bringing in Mississippi, you're bringing in Alabama. I mean, these guys are going to show up for this. So your thoughts on the factory stock? And I think that's the one with the Parker Memorial. There are so damn many.
Yeah.
And when you talk about dudes that'll sneak up on you, it's in that division right there, the good old factory stocks that we talk about, Zach.
Yeah, prime example of that is at Boot Hill. We paid $5,000 to win for the Battle of Boot Hill last month. And a guy that a lot of people consider to be fast, but maybe you didn't expect him to come and be the number one overall qualifier in passing points, Dakota Wyatt out of Provençal, Louisiana. You may have never heard his name before now, right? Dakota Wyatt. And there's just those kind of guys who are going to come up and they're going to race their ass off, excuse my language, and it goes by a USRA passing point system. So there's 2 rounds of passing point heats. Man, you can't leave anything on the table on Friday night. That's how they run it. So we run 2 rounds of passing point heats in every class on Friday night. And, man, you can't leave anything on the table. And sometimes, man, it's really luck of the draw, too. Like, you certainly have to get up on the wheel, but a guy might be in a stacked heat race. Dalton Faulkner, you know Dalton Faulkner. He is going to be a factor. He has won $11,000 in his last 6 factory stock starts. And that's not bad. He's going to try to add 10 more thousand of money in the bank. He's won the 15,000 win paying race at Chatham at Super B Speedway a couple years ago. He's came close to winning the 10,000 King of the Hill, but he's won the Cajun Classic. He has knocked off every single one of our, per se, factory stock crown jewels around the Arklatex. And certainly the number 27, I would say, of Dalton Faulkner is the favorite coming into this weekend. Justin Whitehead, of course, does not race this event because he promotes it. That kind of opens up the door for a couple more guys that certainly become a factor and a threat. And, man, I love factory stock racing, man. I'm telling you, if folks have never seen our style of stock car racing, man, it's awesome. It truly is awesome. A lot of people look at the race. They're like, they run slicks. They did run slicks from 2003 all the way up until the start of last year. And then they kind of mixed up the tire deal, but they were running the Hoosier tire, the asphalt pull-off F45 tire. They're still running those while they're still available. Obviously, we're running out of those F45 tires with the availability. But now they're running the ST1 and ST2s, but they're allowed to groove and sipe them. And that's made the cars, I think, even more competitive, in my opinion, this year. So, man, it's going to be a ton of fun and, man, ultra competition. And for big money, man, it's what it's all about.
That's exactly right. And I will tell you guys, if you have not heard Zach Clark call these events, that's in and of itself a reason to check in and watch this, because you will be thoroughly entertained with Zach calling these things. He's so honed in with these drivers and has intel and just I mean, one of the best in the nation with calling this stuff. Zach, the other part about this with this race, you're going to have all these cars, you're going to have all the limited modifieds and factory stocks, but the cool part is when you get to one of these things and folks, I mean, I've been around the country. I see how things are. But when you get to one of these races, this really just is a big old Willie Nelson type of picnic. Well, I don't know about the smoking weed and all that stuff, but this really just is a big old party. I mean, people come out and they're having a good time. The racing happens to happen. And it's just a really homegrown good time coming out here.
Absolutely, man. It is. It's a phenomenal time, and man, we love everything about it. It's you know, and this event was grown from down, you know, good dirt. You know, I don't like saying anything's backward. I mean, it's just good dirt track racing, right? I mean, and that's why Justin kind of created this event. He wanted all of the friends and people that he races with every single week to be able to come together and pay big money to them and kind of reward them for their efforts. You know, this year falls right in the middle of the season, so a lot of guys are still fresh. Some guys may be making their debuts this weekend. Yeah. So it is, man, and that's what I love about this event is typically we don't run all night. So when it's over, there's guys that got their grills going. I mean, people are drinking beer, and man, it's just like, you know, it's like any good pastime, anything you would go to that you enjoy to do. I don't know how else to put it, but it is, man. It is just a damn good time, man. And man, that's why this event continues to thrive and why it continues to happen. I think this is the 11th running of it. So It continues to happen for a reason. And one, it's the people; two, the racers; and three, and the fans. Number one, obviously. But one thing I love about it is, like, I'll invite the fans over the microphone. The grandstands are closed tonight, just because it's time trial night. But I like that we get early enough and you can invite the fans to come down and interact with the drivers and have a good time. And typically the people that come and support these drivers are oftentimes their family or extended family or friends that have known them. And maybe they don't come to the racetrack all the time, but they get really up and close and personal with the race cars and get to really enjoy the sport. I remember being a kid and my dad raced for, almost 20 years. And he never allowed me and Jared, my brother, to go in the pit area. And I didn't realize until I was older what a joy it was just to go to the pits, right? Like it's truly a great thing to be able to experience that. And I like for all the kids and people that don't always get to see that side of the sport to get over there and be able to experience that.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it really is. So lastly, Zach, break it all down again. I got a text from a friend of mine in Mississippi. He said, there's not two classes racing for 10,000. It's one class, right? I said, no, there's two. So kind of break all of that down, just a whole nutshell. Obviously, raceon.com, one of the partners here with Dirty Air, along with the Racing America, but just kind of break down all of this for folks because they're going to see the best of the best.
Yeah, so it'll be live on raceon.com starting tonight. You can watch that for free on Facebook. So if you just kind of want to look and see what you're looking at, what kind of cars we're looking at tonight. And again, keep in mind that not every car that's going to be there this weekend. Time trials have no bearing on the weekend. The top two times get a guaranteed provisional in the show, so they have nothing to lose, right? And it's $500 for the USRA limited modified B-mod cars. So you come and practice, guess what? You get a chance to go quick. If you turn the quick time, you're going to get rewarded for those efforts, right? But it has no bearing on where you're going to line up and how you're going to be rewarded for how you pass cars and heat races tomorrow night. So it all kicks off tonight with time trials. You can check that out on raceon.com. Tomorrow night, we start at 7 o'clock. We'll run 2 rounds of USRA passing point heat races in every class tomorrow night. So if a guy starts up front in the first heat, then he's going to start at the back in the second heat. He'll have a chance to earn those finishing and those passing points. So that's what's awesome about it. No matter what, you're going to see guys pass race cars. If you've got a fast car, you're going to get up on the wheel. You're going to see some guys get the job done. And that's what's so much fun about this format, right? And so we'll do that. We'll turn them loose on Saturday night. We'll have last chance qualifiers. And, of course, your USRA limited mod and B-mod. Maybe what he meant whenever he was talking about one class was the USRA limited mod and B-mods are combined into one class now. Right. And that pays $10,035 to win in memory of the late, great Alan Roy. Was a longtime staple and a mainstay racer around the Texarkana area. And then, of course, we're going to honor Mike Parker. He was a former racer, great friends of Justin Whitehead's. $10,015 to the winner. And not to mention, it's $400 to start. That's not too bad. $400 to start. That's what some of these races may pay somewhere different areas of the country for stock car racing. So $400 to start, $10,000 plus to win. And as well, to put the icing on the cake, we're going to have the USRA, IMCA, Arkansas stock cars, which are literally like factory stock cars on steroids, if you will. They run headers and they run different tires. They got all that different stuff on their car. So they're a little bit quicker, but they're going to pay $2,000 to win for those guys. And man, it's just going to be a montage of badass racing this weekend, man. We're excited.
See, that's what you get with Zach Clark. Montage, the call right there. So looking forward to that. Zach, I'll be checking in, man. Thank you for taking the time. I know you got to head to the Speedway. It's a big one coming up, man. Have a great call. Looking forward to following along, and let's do it again soon, my brother. Yeah, man. Hey, I do appreciate the kind things you said, but and not to keep it going here, but I do appreciate everything you said. I just kind of want to reciprocate that, man. You do a phenomenal job in everything you do in racing, and I think the sport's better for having people like you in it, being able to promote the sport. And I know you haven't been announcing for terribly long, but man, you're phenomenal too. One day we're going to be able to join forces, and there'll be a good montage of racers. But like I always say, Rodney, I am just a fan armed with a microphone, my friends. So we're going to have fun this weekend, man. Thank you for having me. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's exactly the way I see it. It's like I'm sitting in the stands. I'm calling it just the way that I would then. So, yes, sir. Really, really good stuff. Have a great weekend out there, man. We'll follow up with you later on, brother. Thank you, man. You have a blessed night. See ya. You got it, man. Take care. There he goes right there, Zach Clark. Like I said, that is a dude that he gets on that microphone and calls races here in this region and up into, Louisiana, Mississippi, all these different spots. That is a badass. That is a badass. Zach Clark, thank you for checking in. You've got that huge event coming up there at Texarkana 67 Speedway. Check that out, our friends over at raceon.com. You guys stick around. Going to come back, maybe touch on some NASCAR a little bit. I'll give you some thoughts on some other stuff, and then we'll close this thing out. Clean air is good. Times like this, dirty air is just a tad bit better. This is where the short trackers gather. It's dirty air. You guys stick around.
Speedway, and it all begins Sunday, July 7th with the prelude to the Nationals. The short track stars will have practice and the kickoff party qualifying draw. Then it's the big day, Tuesday, July 9th, when the green flag falls for the 45th annual Cobblestones Hotel Slinger Nationals presented by Lynch Buick GMC. It all goes down July 7th through 9th at Slinger Super Speedway. Racing starts at 6:30, and it's exclusively on Racing America.
Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice-cold beer. Racing has been at the core of Hooters' DNA from the beginning. Whether it's backing the best drivers or serving up the best food on race day, race fans know Hooters is the real deal. Big screens, great food, good times. Hooters, the official home of race fans.
Subscribe today to RacingAmerica.tv to join our racing community and get access to over 200 live pavement short track races each season from across the U.S. and Canada. Plus, RacingAmerica.tv has exclusive and behind-the-scenes coverage of the NASCAR Cup teams.
Enjoy competing with your teammates.
You already know.
Subscribe today and claim additional discounts and access. And your front row seat to watch the excitement and drama.
Car lifts up in the air.
From grassroots to NASCAR, become a subscriber today at the home for race fans everywhere.
You're watching Racing America right here on Racing America.
Racing America. It's in our DNA.
Yes, indeed. Dirty Air rolls on. Thank you all for being a part of this. This has been a fun, very fun hour that we have been able to dive in right here, talking to Ricky Brooks with the World Classic 300 or World Crown 300 making its way back to Cordele. Just another great thing right there with UARA. So looking forward to that. Southern Super Series on a little bit of a break as well. The main thing is at this point, just kind of check in with the Racing America on your Facebook socials, as it will keep you up to date with the Stars Tour and all of that as we begin to dive in just a little bit more. I'm really looking forward to Mobile this weekend, as you've got the bounty on the line. And like I was talking about right there when I was having that conversation there, I remember being a very young kid, and this goes back to, kind of want to preface some of what I was thinking about right there when we were having the conversation about the bounty that's on the line there with Trace Capers. So I was a kid that grew up watching wrestling. And they would put a bounty on somebody, and it was like, okay, if there's a bounty, that's not a good thing. They're coming in to beat them up. Well, beating them. So kind of makes sense. But that was back in those days. And again, right there, the Zach Clark conversation with that big event that's coming up at Texarkana 67 Speedway. That's going to be that really is. You will see some of the finest dirt track racers that you're going to find within the region. And it's a very, I would say tri-state, but it's actually probably quad state, even into 5-6 state phenomenon that you're going to watch right there, because it's two different races. You got the two different memorials, and it's $10,000 to win in each of those. And the way that what I love about that is like Zach was talking about, it's three classes that you're going to have throughout that weekend. So it's very efficient, and it's going to be very defined. And the main thing is that people are going to walk away with a hell of a lot of money. But the other thing that you can think about is, if you can't get to these racetracks, there is plenty of asphalt short track racing that you're going to be able to find right here on Racing America. Let's let the voice guy tell us what's coming up.
America.tv is the place to be this weekend. It's an ASA doubleheader of action Saturday night at Flat Rock Speedway. for the CRA Super Series and the JEG CRA All-Stars. And down south, the Show Me the Money Pro Late Models are back on track at Montgomery Motor Speedway. It's all part of another action-packed weekend of short track action on RacingAmerica.tv, your home for pavement late models.
If you were looking for pavement late model coverage, it's going to be on Racing America, RacingAmerica.tv, RacingAmerica.com. Please feel free to check out that stuff. Subscribe today if you have not already. Again, all the audio podcasts of Dirty Air, RodneyRodriguezSports.com. I do want to invite you guys as well throughout the summer, especially now as we dive in the Dirty Air 2024 short track racing spotlight's going to continue. So if you got a racetrack, you have an individual that you would like showcased on this program on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central, 7 o'clock Eastern, let me know. Email me right there, dirtyairracingshow@gmail.com. I would love to be able to get them on there, and it's free. It's totally free. I'm not going to charge you. Somebody emailed me and it's like, what's it cost to be on that show? I said, as long as it's a legit racetrack, if I can look it up and see that you really do have racing going on, I will put you on the program free of charge. All right, you guys. Thank you all for being a part of this Thursday program. This is where the short trackers gather. It's Dirty Air. Clean air is good. Times like this, Dirty Air just a tad bit better. We'll do it again next Thursday. Check out all the podcasts. Continue to follow Racing America. Continue to follow Flow. RaceOn.com. That's where you'll see the Texarkana 67 race. All of that. If you can't get to a racetrack, find a streamer that is going to put you in the second best spot. Best spot is being there. Second best spot is checking it out on one of your devices. From the Audio-Visual Consultations Dirty Air Studio in Texas, my name is Rodney Rodriguez. We'll do it again next Thursday right here on Dirty Air.